This is chapter 7 of your history textbook.
This is a list of the topics to be covered in this class. This lesson is about two different kinds of communities which existed in medieval India. So, we must first understand what is a community or what is a society. And then we spend a few minutes to learn about settled community or the caste-based society and the mobile community or the tribal society. We will then take a look at some of the well-known tribes. What are their names? Where do they live on the Indian subcontinent? Then the last few slides to talk about the interaction between the caste-based society and the tribal society, which inevitably led to changes in both societies.
Do you know what is a community or what is a society? Here you can see the 6 people and they have a common purpose or maybe a common interest. Well, if they want to achieve that common purpose or to keep that common interest, then each of the members of this community, each of the 6 members must follow an order or a system of rules. Well, we are going to study such communities. The first community that we are going to look at is a settled community. Settled communities have a system which is called the Varna system or a caste-based system. That is, the society, the Indian society, since the later Vedic period and throughout the medieval period, have been divided into 4 sections. On the right you can see the 4 sections are Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya and Shudra. And on the left you can see a small child with 4 arrows. The Brahmins are the ones that decide at the birth of the child which class or caste this child must belong to. Well, we can learn about another very important feature about settled communities or caste-based communities or societies. In the caste-based society, people were divided into a high or low caste on the basis of their birth. And during the medieval period, especially in the Delhi Sultanate and the Mughal periods, the difference between these high and low castes and between the rich and the poor increased. We just finished learning about settled communities or the caste-based societies. But did you know that there were many societies in the Indian subcontinent which did not follow the social rules and rituals prescribed by the Brahmanas? They were also not divided into different high and low castes. What are these societies called? These societies are called the tribes or the mobile communities. In the next few slides, we shall be learning about mobile communities or tribal societies. On this slide, we shall be learning about the structure of a mobile community or a tribal society. A tribal society consists of groups of related families. They are led by the chief. They are governed by the tribe's own laws and traditions. Members of each tribe are united by bonds of kinship. Can you see the groups of families at the bottom and their leader, the chief, at the top? And you can see also a book in which is the laws and the traditions that are observed by each member of this tribe. Each tribe or tribal society has its own distinct lifestyle, customs and beliefs. Do you know why a mobile community is called so? What does it mean to be mobile? Traditionally, many tribes have led a nomadic life. They were mobile. They were moving from one place to another. They lived in forests, hills and deserts. In the picture on the left, you can see a man, he's leading a camel in the desert, and in the picture on the right, you can see many white tents, and these people are living near the hills. Many earned their livelihood from agriculture. Some were hunter-gatherers and others are herders. Although tribal societies moved from one place to another, did you know that a tribe could together own land and cattle, sometimes even forests and pastures? They shared the yield with each other equally. They even exchanged goods between tribal communities using the barter system. You have just learned about two different kinds of communities that existed in medieval India. What are they? The caste-based society and the tribal society. They lived together on the Indian subcontinent. So do you think that there were interactions between these two communities? As you can expect, there were friendship and fighting between the two communities. Sometimes the tribes fought with the more established caste-based society, but they were able to keep their freedom and their cultural identity. On the other hand, the caste-based and tribal societies also depended on each other for their various needs. Ultimately, these relationships of conflict and dependence gradually caused both the societies to change. On this slide, we will learn about the factors that led to change within the tribal society. The first factor is the migration of people into their region. What would happen if new people and new culture came into the region of the tribal society? The tribal society would be exposed to new culture. We learn from history that they have adopted some of these cultures. The second factor is deforestation. Deforestation is the loss of vegetation in a region. But why would that affect a tribal society? Remember that the tribal society, they had made their livelihood from agriculture and they owned a lot of cattle. So they needed lots of pasture and forests to feed their cattle. The third point is the conflict and interdependence between the tribal society and the caste-based society. In summary, all these factors caused the tribal societies to settle down. Over a period of time, they even became so powerful and influential that they established a full-fledged state or kingdom. In the last slide, we saw some of the changes that happened in the caste-based society because of the interaction between the caste-based society and the tribal society. But what are some of the changes that happened in the tribal society? Many tribes became part of the caste-based society with the support of the Brahmins. The leading tribal families were included into the ruling class. That means the leaders of these tribes, they became the rulers in the caste-based society. Also, a large majority of the tribal people joined the lower jatis of the caste-based society. That is basically saying that the tribals, they entered into every strata, every section of the caste-based society. However, many dominant tribes of the northwest, like from the tribes from the Punjab and Sindh, they had adopted Islam quite early. Therefore, they did not accept the unequal social order of the caste system. Many tribes, they followed Islam. They were not fond of this segregation that was prevalent in the caste system. Some tribes, they did go into the caste-based society, but some tribes did not. In fact, these social changes amongst the tribal people paved the way for the emergence of new tribal states. How did the tribes, the mobile community, get an entry into the settled community? Well, there's always a season of plenty, where people have a lot of money to spend on luxury items like arts and craft. And this is called the development of the economy, or that the economy is growing. And when there's a growing economy, people make demands for crafts. And this leads to a need for skilled artisans and craftsmen. The Brahmins, they recognize the skilled people as a new class within the Brahmins and the Kshatriya classes. And this new class were called the Jatis. You can see the second point is new section within the castes called Jatis. This is how tribal groups were included into a caste-based society and they got that status of Jatis. Therefore, Jati rather than Varna became the basis of the distinction in caste-based society. Well, how did tribal society affect the Kshatriya caste? Some tribes became very powerful and they replaced the older rulers, the Kshatriya leaders. Many tribes became part of caste-based society with the support of the Brahmanas. In the following slides, we will be looking at indigenous tribes of India. What does it mean of indigenous? These are tribes of India that are native. They belong here. They've been in this land or in this geographical location for a long time. So, in the next few slides, we shall explore some well-known, popular, influential tribes of medieval India. So, the first tribe that we're going to look at is the Khokar or the Gakhar. They were very influential tribes in what is known today as Punjab. They were so powerful that a chief of the Gakhar was called Kamal Khan Gakhar, and he was made a noble by Akbar, the Mughal emperor. So where is this Gakhar and Khokar? They are in the northern part of India in what is called as Punjab today. In the northwest part of India, here are two other tribes called the Langars and the Arghuns. These tribes, they dominated large areas of Multan and Sindh, present day Pakistan, Rajasthan, till they were subdued by the Mughals. Here on this slide, we will be focusing on the tribe called the Balochis. The Balochis were powerful tribes but were divided into smaller clans under different chiefs. You can also see a picture of the Balochis tribe. We have now gone to the northeast part of India and look at the entire area that has been dominated by the Nagas and the Ahams. Entire northeast was ruled by these tribes. You are getting an idea about how powerful, how influential tribes can be during the medieval period. And here is a picture of a Naga man. In the present day Bihar and Jharkhand, Chiro chiefdoms emerged by the 12th century. And here's a picture of a Chiro tribal group performing their dance. The Mundas and Santals were other important tribes that lived in the same region and also in Orissa and Bengal. Maharashtra and Karnataka were home to the Kolis and the Berad. A little further south lived large tribal population of the Koragas. And on the left you can see a picture of the Koragas. The large tribe of the Bhils was spread across west and central India. And where are the Gonds found? They are found in Chhattisgarh, Madhya Pradesh, Maharashtra and Andhra Pradesh.